Hello and welcome to the 30k channel dedicated to games set in the Horus Heresy. I'm your host, David Brains, and I am being joined by Simon and James. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Good to be back.
Really good to get these guys here. Yes, this game has been cancelled twice over the last 3 months due to various reasons and administration errors on my part, but we have finally got them here. And gents, you have brought me 2 amazing forces.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. And we've got some really unique lists as well. We do have a Thunderhawk gunship on the channel, courtesy of the Night Lords. I mean, it's amazing.
Thank you.
It's
one
a
of my
beast.
favourite models.
Yeah.
It's a little bit scary from where I'm sat, though. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, that D-weapon's going to cause some issues, I reckon.
Yeah, doing a lot of havoc to my lines. But I'm sure we can try and skirt around it, hopefully. But we'll see.
Yeah. We've had an early start today. You blokes have come up from Colchester way, is that right?
I'm from Colchester, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm from Kent, so
okay.
About 2.5 hours.
Yeah. We started nice and early this morning, 9 o'clock we started. So some good effort, gents. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to lead to Simon first of all. He's going to tell us about the story surrounding this game.
So effectively, the table that David's nicely set up for us is all about the Solar War when the Traitor forces first emerged back from the warp. And you've got the moon of Khyberos has been blown up, and this smaller moon is effectively the next focal point for the traitors to disembark onto and see if they can seize the area. You've got James's forces trying to also come into that moon and find a way of holding off against the advance of the traitors. And that's pretty much it.
It's a really cool scenario we've got, but also we've got Night Lords and Emperor's Children. So I'm assuming Emperor's Children are loyalist.
Yes, loyalist Emperor's Children. So, bit of background for the army. So when I first restarted this army, I wanted to start it as a loyalist Emperor's Children army. And weirdly, as the army's progressed, I've sort of brought in more sort of late heresy Emperor's Children have gone along. However, if you looking at the colour scheme, you can sort of see where I've tried to keep that sort of the early era heresy in them. So a lot with the white marble, a lot of white in the sort of the sort of regal purple, going back to the old days when they were the emissaries of the emperor. Yeah. So that's what I've tried to keep with, and hopefully that's going to play really nicely into our narrative. And hopefully it looks good on the table as well. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, there's one thing about this game, no matter how it goes, it will be a stunning looking game. There's no question about that. If we look at the battlefield, though, we've got a massive defence line running virtually around the centre of the board, and then we've kind of got the no man's land, which the Night Lords are deployed in.
They have, yeah.
And you've got a really awesome Terror Assault force, haven't you?
I do, yeah. It's thematically based off of an orbital sort of rite of war. So in the book, there's a Grand Cruiser that's located in the shattered remnants of Khyberos, and the idea being is this strike force is deployed via Thunderhawk, drop pod, and all sorts to get to the planet's surface and seize it. So I based the list around the army around that concept.
It's incredibly fast moving, and there's a ton of Dreadcore drop pods in there. And if we look at the board for deployment, there are 3 models from the Night Lords on the table, and you've got first turn though.
I do, luckily.
So you will get reserves, thankfully. But you've just got the 3 javelins. Yeah, pretty frightening. James, if you look at your deployment zone, you're deployed over the sort of the landing pad and the city areas it starts. You've got quite a few units down.
Yeah, I've tried to spread my forces out a bit. I've got quite a lot in dedicated transports, which should help for me later on, especially with the playing into the mission.
Yeah.
And obviously everyone knows rhinos die quite quickly, so you need so I've got 3 of them to try and at least bolster my force and keep some of my tactical marines alive. However, I've also got quite a lot of outflanking. So the great thing about I love with my Emperor's Children is with the right war and being able to outflank those units. So I've got a few reserves. I've got some Contemptor Cortices, I've got some jet bikes, and I've also got the Storm Eagle with some Palatine Blade. So that's going to be for me, it's that later on in the game to bring back the swing, because I don't know where the Night Lords are going. So I'm going to try and hopefully play around the Night Lords with what would kind of react to what they do, is my idea. But we'll see how it works in practice. Is completely 2 different things.
I think it's going to be very tentative in the first couple of turns once you both work out where each other's going. Yeah. And then the game will really start to ramp up, maybe turn 3, turn 4. And we're playing Tide of Carnage, Dawn of War, and scoring those deployment zones is going to be really key to winning this game.
Yep.
You get 7 points for your opponent, so that's huge points available.
Yeah, considering you only get 2 for the Lord of War, and it's a Thunderhawk I'm going to try and take down, I think I know where my money's going to be at, what I'm going to try and aim for.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, the mission's more important, I think, than settling our scores.
It's going to be a really dynamic game, and I'm really interested to see how it plays out. Getting this Thunderhawk on the board is going to be really essential for Night Lords, I think, to start really pinging units off the table. Yeah. So we will see. Really exciting game we've got ahead of us.
I just want to say how awesome that Thunderhawk does look like.
It does.
Thank you. Well, I've got one model, and you've got an entire army that's painted to an exceptional standard, and amazing.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Both armies are absolutely fantastic, and you'll see just how good they are in the army showcase, which we'll do next. We'll dig into these lists, find out exactly what is in them, and then I guess we'll go into Night Lords. Quickly though, before we go, I always forget this. Are you seizing?
No, I'm not going to seize.
You're not.
No, I'm going to try and, like I say, react to the Night Lords.
I think that plays into your hand with the force that you've built.
Yeah.
So, because the Night Lords will be fairly committed when they come down their first turn with the drop pods, and then you can counter punch after. So I think it'd be quite a key tactical decision.
I also have more targets to shoot at as well, because obviously at the moment I've only got the javelins.
Yeah.
And even if I kill the javelins, he still gets his drop pod. So I think it's worth me holding back a little bit.
Yeah.
Trying to, which kind of fits with the fluff. The Emperor's Children, especially early Emperor's Children, they're all about striking at the right time as hard as you can. Because they're not the broad, they're not the heavy smashers. It's about that finesse strike,
Sure.
and that's what I'm going with. So hopefully my army will play. I've tried to build around the fluff and try and, really sort of dig into that. As we're both sort of very much into the books and sort of how the game works is all to do with mirroring the fluff. So
clearly, I'm hoping that Night Lords come down, absolutely cause carnage, and then we will quickly withdraw, not retreat, away. As cowardice, tactical cowardice.
Tactical.
Yeah.
You've got a ton of Volkite in your list as well, haven't you?
Yeah,
it's a lot of ball play. And that goes through Marines quite well. So I'm not.
Everyone loves the Tomb Train.
All right, let's dig into these lists. We'll see you at the beginning of Night Lords turn 1.
3,500 points of Emperor's Children, led by a Praetor. His Warlord trait is the Child of Terror, and the Rite of War is a Markra Skara. The army is led by a Praetor. He is equipped with a Divining Blade, Melter Bombs, Digital Laser, Iron Halo, Sonic Shrieker. The second HQ choice is a Chaplain. He is equipped with Artificer Armour, a Power Fist, a Refractor Field, and a Sonic Shrieker. The final HQ is a Champion on a Scimitar Jet Bike. He has a Mastercrafted Paragon Blade, Melter Bombs, a Refractor Field, and a Sonic Shrieker. First elite choice is a Contemptor Cortus Dreadnought Talon. The first elite choice is a Contemptor Cortus Dreadnought Talon. The first Dreadnought is equipped with 2 Dreadnought close combat weapons with inbuilt melter guns in both weapon. The second Contemptor Cortus Dreadnought is also equipped identically. The second elite choice is 8 Palatine Blades. The Perfector is equipped with Artifice Armour, a Phoenix Power Spear, and a Sonic Shrieker. There's 7 other Palatine Warriors. They're all equipped with Artificer Armour. There is 4 Power Swords and 3 Phoenix Power Spears. The rest of the unit are also equipped with Sonic Shriekers. The third elite choice is 6 Phoenix Terminators. The Phoenix Champion has a Grenade Harness and a Phoenix Power Spear. The other 5 Phoenix Terminators are all equipped with Phoenix Spears and Sonic Shriekers. They are going into battle with their dedicated transport, a Spartan Assault Tank. It is equipped with an Auxiliary Drive, Armor Ceramite, and Flare Shield. There are 3 identical troops choices. A 10-man tactical squad. The Sergeant is equipped with a Power Fist, and they are riding a Rhino, and that is upgraded with a multi-melter. Fast Attack, a 5-man Jet Bike Sky Hunter squad. They are equipped with Melter Bombs. The second Fast Attack choice is a Javelin Land Speeder squad. The first Javelin Attack Speeder is equipped with a Pinnacle mounted multi-melter and a Searchlight. The second Javelin is equipped with another Pinnacle mounted multi-melter. Both Javelins are equipped with a twin-linked las cannon. The third Fast Attack choice is a Storm Eagle Assault Gunship with a hull mounted twin-linked multi-melter and 2 twin-linked las cannons. The only heavy support choice is a Leviathan Pattern Dreadnought, equipped with a Grav Flux Bombard, Armor Ceramite, and a Phosphorex Discharger. His dedicated transport is a Dreadnought Drop Pod.
3,500 points of Night Lords using the Terror Assault Rite of War. The army is led by a Praetor. His Warlord trait is Child of Terror. HQ. We have Uzas Zyberis, who's a Praetor, and he's equipped with Divining Blade, Combi Plasma, Melter Bombs, Digital Lasers, Iron Halo, and Trophies of Judgment. Elites. 10 Legion Terminators. The Legion Terminator Sergeant has a Volkite Charger and Chain Fist, and 9 Terminators with him have 9 Volkite Chargers and 9 Power Axes. Fast Attack. A Javelin Attack Speeder Squadron comprising of 3 Javelin Attack Speeders. All 3 have pintle-mounted multi-melters and hull-mounted twin-linked las cannons. The Xiphon Pattern Interceptor with ground tracking auguries and chaff launcher. Troops. 3 identically equipped 10-man Terror Squad Executioners. The headsmen have Artificer Armour, Volkite Chargers and Melter Bombs. The 9 Terror Squad Executioners supporting them all have Volkite Chargers. They'll be riding in dedicated transport of an Amberless Pattern Dreadclaw Drop Pod. Heavy support. 1 Leviathan Pattern Siege Dreadnought with a Leviathan Siege Drill, Cyclonic Melter Lance, 2 torso-mounted twin-link Volkite calibers, and armoured ceramite, and they'll be riding into battle in a Dreadnought drop pod. The Lord of War choice is a Thunderhawk gunship with a hull-mounted turbo laser destructor, chaff launcher, flare shield, and a void-crafted hull. Night Lords turn 1 movement phase. The Javelin attack land speeders have moved forwards and shuffled to get line of sight onto the front of the Spartan assault tank, and the appearance of 2 Anvilus pattern Dreadclaw drop pods in the middle of the table, where we saw one scatter backwards unfortunately, but one had a direct hit onto the table with its deep strike. Turn 1 Night Lord shooting, and we've seen the Javelin attack speeders open up with their las cannons. They all fired onto the front arc. All of them hit. Unfortunately, due to the way of the flare shield reducing the strength, we got one glance off the front of the Spartan. Due to the way that the Anvilus Dreadclaw drop pods have come in, there's been no fire sweep or heat blast occurring on this turn.
Emperor's Children, turn 1 movement. Leviathan has come down with its drop pod, looking onto the javelins. The Spartan has moved up to get one of its guns to bear on the javelins. The Emperor's Children javelins have nestled nicely onto the building on top. Both rhinos on the left flank have ushered forwards to try and get the multi-melters to bear onto the Dreadclaws. Emperor's Children, turn 1 shooting. Both rhinos have opened up with their multi-melter onto the Dreadclaw. However, due to needing to snap fire, both missed. But importantly, it did jink. The Leviathan has opened up with its Grav Flux Bombard, hitting 2 of the javelins and penetrating and destroying one of them. Fantastically ignores cover so they can't jink it. The melter gun in its claw has also shot. It penetrated, however, he successfully passed his jink. The Spartan has opened up with its quad las cannon and twin-linked heavy bolter, doing 1 penetrating hit to the javelin. The Emperor's Children javelins have open fired onto the Night Lord javelins, doing 1 penetrating hit, however successfully jinked. Emperor's Children, turn 1 summary. The Emperor's Children have managed to kill 1 javelin and make a lot of units of the Night Lord's jink. The Emperor's Children Rhino at the rear has used its smoke launchers to pop smoke to give it a better cover save for next turn.
Turn 2 Night Lords, and the reserve rolls are made. The Thunderhawk was the only successful reserve roll and has come on the right hand side of the table edge. The remaining units, the Javelins, moved forwards and off to the left to avoid the Leviathan Dread encroaching on them and to draw a line of sight onto the Rhinos. And the 2 Anvilus pattern Dreadclaw drop pods came down, landed and disgorged their Terror assault squads onto the table, ready to engage the Rhinos. Night Lords, turn 2 shooting, and the first Terror squad, First Claw, opened up on the Rhino with their Volkite chargers. 20 shots hit, converting into 2 hull points. Next to shoot was Second Claw of the Terror assault squads. They hit the side armour of the Rhino and the tube train wrecked it. This forced the Emperor's Children to conduct an emergency disembark. Unfortunately for the Night Lords, the Emperor's Children were successful with their pinning check and have stayed in place. Next to shoot was the Javelin attack speeder squadron. Snap shooting, and they failed to hit the Rhino they were targeting over the far side of the table. Lastly to shoot was the Legion Thunderhawk gunship. It fired its turbo laser destructor and its las cannons at the Emperor's Children's Spartan assault tank, causing 2 hull points to be lost. It then switched fire with its left-hand side's heavy bolter arrays and shot at the Javelin attack speeders of the Emperor's Children on top of the buildings, causing 1 hull point to be lost. Night Lords turned to assault phase. First Claw looked to make a charge on the Emperor's Children Rhino, however, due to the distance involved in the cover, they failed their charge. Second Claw looked to the Emperor's Children squad at the rear of their wrecked Rhino, however, again with the cover involved, it was decided to go against not doing a charge.
Emperor's Children, turn 2, movement, reserves. Due to the right of war Mara Skara, the jet bikes have come on from outflank on the left flank side there. The 2 Quartus Contemptors have also come on to the left flank. And finally, the Storm Eagle has taken up, blaring down straight in front of the Thunderhawk. The Leviathan has moved up to sit behind the Javelins. The Spartan has stayed stationary. The Rhino has also stayed stationary with the Javelins. The Attack Marine squad has moved slightly back, trying to stay away from the charges from the Night Lords. And absolutely disastrously, the Rhino has caused itself a mobilised result on terrain and managed its final hull point, wrecking the vehicle, so the attack squad were forced to abandon the vehicle and get out. Emperor's Children turn to shooting. The Leviathan has opened up onto the Night Lord's javelins. Firstly, with its Gravflux Bombard, however, it completely failed to penetrate. Secondly, it opened up with its Melter Gun, also failing. However, the inbuilt flamers on his chest managed to do the hull point needed, taking a javelin down. The Emperor's Children jet bikes have opened up onto the rear of the Night Lord's javelin. With 6 heavy bolters, they managed to do 7 hull point glances to the javelin, making it enough to wreck the vehicle. The Quartus Dreadnoughts have opened up onto their only target, which is a Thunderhawk gunship, with their inbuilt multiple guns. However, due to need snapshots, they missed with everything. The Emperor's Children Storm Eagle has opened its weapons up onto the Thunderhawk. The 2 twin-linked las cannons managed to hit with both, however not managing to penetrate. The multi-mortar also hit, but also failed due to the flare shield of the Thunderhawk. The Spartan has opened up with its quad las cannons onto the Thunderhawk gunship, hitting with 1. However, due to the flare shield again, only doing no glancing hits or penetrating hits. The Emperor's Children Javelins have now opened up onto the Dreadclaw drop pod. The 2 multi-metals, both failing to do any damage. However, 1 twin-link las cannon did do a penetrating hit, but was saved with a jink. The Emperor's Children Tactical Squad has opened up onto the Terror Assault Squad. However, only 4 Marines can see, so doing 8 shots. They managed to wound 4 times, however, the power armor was just too strong on the Night Lords, so it did no damage. The second Emperor's Children Tactical Squad has opened up onto the Night Lords Terror Assault Squad. With 8 shots, they hit with 5 times, and doing 3 wounds, which was enough to take 1 Terror Assault Marine down. Emperor's Children turn to summary. With overwhelming firepower, they have not managed to do as much damage as we hoped for. However, the Emperor's Children have managed to set the board in motion, getting into tactical advantage on the left and right flanks.
Turn 3 Night Lords and reserves came in, only in the form of the Leviathan Dreadnought, which came down in a very risky manoeuvre behind the Emperor's Children Spartan. Moving on to the Dreadclaw drop pods, the Terror Squads for 1st and 2nd Claw re-embarked in their Dreadclaw drop pods in order to manoeuvre around the battle space and get behind the Emperor's Children potentially in the next couple of turns. Finally, the Thunderhawk gunship Blackened moved across the table and put the Emperor's Children Tactical Squad in its sights for a gun strafing run. Turn 3, Emperor's Children shooting phase. Blackened has come in and begun its strafing run on the Emperor's Children Tactical Squad. It fired every single weapon system it had into the Marines. However, due to them ducking and diving and weaving and bobbing, we only managed to kill 4 tactical Marines. They then passed their leadership test. Next to shoot was the Leviathan Dreadnought. After coming down its Dreadnought drop pod, it appears the smoke was a bit too much, as after firing its Cyclonic Melter Lance and its Melter Gun into the back end of the Spartan, we only caused 1 glancing hit. At the end of the shooting phase, the 2 Anvilus Pattern Dreadclaw drop pods have moved across into the rear lines of the Emperor's Children, ready for the next couple of turns. Overall, an average round for the Night Lords with only manoeuvre capability achieved in that round. The Thunderhawk gunship, its strafing run was particularly poor, and finally, really, the ultimate failing of the Leviathan drop pod with its risky move coming in, but not paying off for us with its Melter Lance failures.
Emperor's Children turn 3 movement. The tack squad on the flank has moved up, trying to run away from the Thunderhawk gunship. The second tack squad has kept its ground and staying there. The Storm Eagle has moved up, chasing after the Thunderhawk gunship. The jet bikes have moved up on the flank. The Leviathan has turned round to bring its guns to bear on the Night Lord's Leviathan. The Emperor's Children Rhino has advanced up to gain ground for the objectives for later on. The Contemptor Quartus has moved up and advanced towards the Leviathan. The second Quartus, however, managed to trip over the wall and only managed to move very slightly. The Emperor's Children Spartan has turned around, bringing its guns to bear, ready to fire on the Leviathan. Emperor's Children turn 3 shooting. The Tactical Marine Squad has ran 3 inches forward to try and gain ground on the objective. The Storm Eagle has opened fire with its twin-linked multi-melter onto the Thunderhawk gunship. Amazingly, it hit, penetrated, and with an explosive roll, doing 4 hull points to the Thunderhawk gunship. The Storm Eagle then fired its 2 twin-linked las cannons against the Thunderhawk, hitting with both, however, failing to penetrate. The Emperor's Children Spartan has opened up with its quad-core las cannons against the Leviathan. It hit with all 4, however, only did 1 penetrating hit, which was saved on the Leviathan's invulnerable save. The Emperor's Children Leviathan has shot its Gravflux Bombard against the Night Lord's Dread drop pod, however failing to do any damage. The Emperor's Children Javelins have opened up onto the Night Lord's Dreadclaw drop pod with the las cannons and multi-melters, doing enough to glance it to death, wrecking the vehicle, so the Night Lords have now emergency disembarked the vehicle right in front of the Emperor's Children Tat Squad. The Emperor's Children Tactical Squad has now opened up on the Night Lords with their bolt pistols so they can charge later. They hit with 5, done 3 wounds, and taken down 3 of the Night Lords. Both Quartus Contemptors have ran 4 inches forward towards the enemy. The jet bikes have turbo boosted their full range of 24 to get right in the heart of the enemy position. Emperor's Children Turn 3 Assault Phase. The Tactical Squad have charged into the Night Lords Terror Assault Squad, doing a massive 11-inch charge, and luckily passing the only armour save needed to take from the Overwatch. The Emperor's Children Tactical Squad steps up at Initiative 5 with 18 attacks, hit 10 times, and doing 3 wounds. One armour save was failed, so killing 1 Terror Assault Squad Marine.
Striking back at Initiative 4, the Night Lords Terror Squad struck the Emperor's Children. They had 15 attacks, converting to 9 hits and 6 wounds, of which only 1 was failed, therefore they lost 1 Marine. During the challenge, the Emperor's Children and Night Lords Sergeants faced off. The Night Lord Sergeant struck first, due to the Emperor's Children Sergeant having a power fist, dealing 1 wound, and the Emperor's Children Sergeant failed his save, removing him from play.
The Emperor's Children lost combat by 1, however, with Martial Pride, because they lost the challenge, they lose an additional 1 leadership. However, they managed to pass the leadership test and carry on to fight for next turn. Emperor's Children Turn 3 Summary. It was quite a good turn for the Emperor's Children. We'd got a lot of movement done, making sure we can then take ground for later on for the objectives. The combat went pretty well, however, it could have gone better. But the final highlight for me for this turn was taking 4 hull points off the Thunderhawk gunship.
Turn 4, Night Lords, and for our reserves, the Xiphon Interceptor and the Dreadclaw drop pod came onto the board. Looking to capitalise on this opportunity, we've put the Xiphon behind the Emperor's Children Storm Eagle ready to chase it down, and the Dreadclaw drop pods got involved with the Emperor's Legion jet bikes from the rear. The Night Lord's Leviathan Dreadnought has moved forwards in order to capitalise on the Emperor's Children Spartan being so close and hemmed in by the terrain. Blackhand has landed and disgorged its Atralentar cargo and the Praetor in order to engage with the Emperor's Children jet bikes. And Second Claw have dismounted from their Dreadclaw drop pod in order to get involved with the Emperor's Children from the previous combats. Turn 4, Night Lord shooting phase, and the Atramentar Terminators open up on the jet bikes with their Volkite chargers. 20 shots, 10 wounds, and none were taken due to their 2-up armour save on the bikes. Next up to shoot, the Xiphon Interceptor fired into the side armour of the Emperor's Children Storm Eagle. 2 shots with the twin las cannons only resulted in 1 penetrating hit, which resulted in a weapon destroyed, which was the Vengeance missile launchers on top. And then the Xiphon rotary missile launcher failed to hit the target. The Night Lord's Leviathan Dreadnought opened up with its Cyclonic Melter Lance into the Emperor's Children Spartan, stripping its last hull point and forcing its crew to get an emergency disembark out the rear of the vehicle. Blackhand opened up on the Emperor's Children jet bikes to the front with its Turbo Laser Destructor and its las cannons and 3 of its heavy bolter arrays. Unfortunately, it only scored 1 wound on the rearmost jet bike with the Turbo Laser Destructor. The remaining heavy bolter pintle spun around on its left axis and engaged the Emperor's Children troops to the rear, unfortunately killing none. Turn 4, Night Lord's Assault Phase. The Atramentar Terminators have charged into the Emperor's Children jet bikes, suffering no wounds on Overwatch. The Emperor's Children Champion has entered into a challenge with the Night Lord's Praetor. Lastly, Second Claw has entered into combat with the Emperor's Children Tactical Squad that were previously hemmed in and battered with the First Claw.
Striking at Initiative 6, the Emperor's Children Champion steps up with his Mastercrafted Paragon Blade, hitting twice, doing 2 wounds. However, 1 only goes through due to the Praetor's Iron Halo.
Striking at Initiative 5, the Night Lord's Legion Praetor, Uzas Cyberus, with his Divining Blade, attacks into the Emperor's Children Champion. Because of their squad being outnumbering the Emperor's Children jet bikes, Talent for Murder kicks in, meaning he strikes with 6 attacks, hits with 6 attacks, wounds with 6 attacks, which kills the Emperor's Children Champion and his supporting jet bike squad. The Atramentar Terminators and the Night Lords Praetor then moved 5 inches consolidation towards the centre of the table, towards the Emperor's Children, in order to secure objectives and look at potential targets for next turn. Striking initiative 4, the Second Claw entered into combat with the Emperor's Children, having freshly charged. They had 36 attacks, resulting in 27 hits, 23 wounds, which took out 7 of the Emperor's Children. The second squad, or First Claw, are still yet to attack, and the Emperor's Children still have their ability to strike back at this initiative step. First Claw struck next and took out the last remaining Emperor's Children Tactical Marine. However, now the Emperor's Children will get the chance to strike back.
At still initiative 4, the Emperor's Children strike back with 8 attacks, hitting with 3, doing 2 wounds, and taking down 1 Night Lord Marine.
At the end of that assault phase, then the Second Claw consolidated 1 inch forwards, and First Claw consolidated a full 6 inches forwards, which they've gone towards an objective part of the terrain. End of turn 4 summary for Night Lords. Overall, an amazing turn for the Night Lords here. The Praetor has cleared out the friendly deployment zone and secured the Night Lords' deployment area. The Terror Squads have pushed through the remaining Emperor's Children resistance in their deployment zone and secured that area. Overall, we do have a couple of weak points still. There's the enemy Storm Eagle's up. Hopefully the Xiphon will be able to deal with that next turn. But more importantly, our Thunderhawk is on the ground, hovering, ready to pick up the Atramentar possibly in the next turn. Hopefully, its last remaining hull points won't leave it too vulnerable.
Emperor's Children, turn 4, movement. The Phoenix Guard and the Praetor have moved around the destroyed Spartan. The 2 Quartus Dreadnoughts have moved up, and the Leviathan has moved up, ready to hopefully get a charge onto the Night Lord's Leviathan. The Javelins have slightly turned round for bringing their guns to bear on the Thunderhawk. The most importantly, the Storm Eagle gunship has come down and taken out its cargo of the 8 Palatine Blades, getting ready to charge into the Night Lord's lines. The final attack squad on the right flank have moved up and sat behind the Thunderhawk with a possible charge. Finally, the Emperor's Children Rhino has also advanced to the middle of the table, carrying its 10 Tactical Marines. Emperor's Children, turn 4, shooting. The Contemptor Quartus has moved up, firing its 2 melter guns at the Leviathan, blowing a hole straight through it and taking it down with a penetrating hit. Both Contemptor Quartuses overcharged. The Contemptor that shot the Leviathan lost a hull point to overcharging. However, the other one was left unscathed. The Leviathan and the other Contemptor Quartus have both ran, the Leviathan running 4 inches towards the Night Lords, and the Quartus just staying on top of the landing pad. The Emperor's Children Storm Eagle has fired its twin-linked multi-melter onto the Night Lord's Dreadclaw. He was snap firing and managed to hit and do a penetrating to explode the Dreadclaw, killing 2 Night Lord Marines. The Javelins have now opened up with their twin-linked las cannons against the Thunderhawk, hitting with 1, doing a penetrating hit, which took off 1 hull point. That makes the Thunderhawk have now lost 5 hull points, leaving it with 4. The Tactical Marine squad has thrown a crack grenade at the rear armour of the Thunderhawk, however he failed to hit. The Phoenix Terminators have run 2 inches just to space out, just in case we get any barrage or template weapons from the Thunderhawk. Emperor's Children, turn 4, assault. The Palatine Blades have charged into the Night Lord's Terror Squad, evading all Overwatch, and ran a massive 10 inches to get stuck into the fight. Striking at Initiative 6, the Palatine Blade Sergeant issued a challenge, which was accepted. With 4 attacks, he hit with 3 and did 3 wounds, killing 3. Striking at Initiative 5, the Palatine Blades step up with their Phoenix Power Spears, which give him +1 strength on the charge and AP 2. With their 9 attacks, they only hit with 4, but doing 3 wounds, killing 3 Marines. At still Initiative 5, the remainder Palatine Blades step up with their Power Swords. With 16 attacks, they hit with 9, doing 5 wounds, wiping the remainder of the squad. The Palatine Blades then consolidated 5 inches towards the Terror Assault Squad. The Tactical Squad have charged the Thunderhawk. The Sergeant steps up with his Power Fist with his 3 attacks. However, he hit with 3, but didn't manage to penetrate the vehicle. 3 crack grenades were thrown and managed to do 1 glance. Emperor's Children, turn 4, summary. It was a really good turn. Managed to get some good combats and step in the right direction for holding the ground, ready for the objectives for the final turn.
Turn 5, Night Lords, movement phase. Blackened has taken off from the Dusty Sands and moved forwards to attempt to open up some of the armour over the far side that the Emperor's Children have accrued over there. The Xiphon Interceptor, Excoriator, has lined up for a strafing run on the currently hovering Storm Eagle. The Atramentar, Terminators and Praetor are looking to finish off the Emperor's Children tactical squad on the far side of the table near the Night Lord's deployment zone. The Terror Squad of First Claw have moved back into position that they can defend against the Palatine Blades encroaching. And finally, the last of the Anvilus Dreadclaw Platinum drop pods has descended down and dropped off its Terror Squad, which is Third Claw, to attempt to do some damage to the Rhino. Night Lord's turn 5 shooting phase, Excoriator has targeted the Storm Eagle. However, due to the backwash from the amount of smoke from the destroyed Rhino, has managed to miss with every single weapon system it's fired at it. The Night Lord's Atramentar opened up with their Volkite chargers into the Emperor's Children tactical squad, only managing to wipe off 2 despite having 2 Deflagrate hits occurring. First Claw opened up with their Volkite chargers into the Emperor's Children Palatine Blades. As a result of their Chum Chum volley, they managed to wipe out 4 of the Emperor's Children Palatine Blades on the initial volley, with a further Deflagrate kill occurring, bringing the total to 5, slain by the squad. The Emperor's Children then conducted their leadership test and passed, holding them in position. Third Claw targeted the Emperor's Children Rhino with their Volkite chargers. They fired 10 shots as the remainder were out of range. Unfortunately, 1 glance was scored, however, it was dismissed due to cover save. Next to shoot, Blackened opened up onto the Emperor's Children Rhino with its turbo laser destructors, its Hellstrike missiles, and its las cannons. Its pilot, determined to wreck it, managed to do so, causing the troops inside to emerge disembark. Finally, in an attempt to sweep up the rear lines, the 2 underwing pintle-mounted heavy bolters opened up on the tactical squad at the far side of the table, killing 2. Night Lord's turn 5 assault and the Atramentar have attempted to push forward to secure the last Emperor's Children attack marine. Unfortunately, they failed their charge distance. However, the overwatch from the attack marine was of no consequence. Overall, on turn 5 then, the Night Lords have done everything they can do. They've pushed the Thunderhawk across the other side of the table. They've tried their hardest to stop the Emperor's Children from pushing into positions to secure objectives, and they've attempted to secure their own rear lines. We just have to see what the Emperor's Children can pull out of their pocket now.
Emperor's Children, turn 5, the last turn of the game, movement. The Emperor's Children have moved up to try and contest every objective possible. The Palatine Blades have moved up towards the Night Lords. The remaining Tactical Marine on the flank, Tactical Marine Sergeant, is digging in and holding that entire objective on his own. The Storm Eagle has just moved slightly around to bring its guns to bear, snap firing onto the Thunderhawk. The Javelins have pivoted round to also do the same with their guns to bear on the Thunderhawk. The Leviathan and 2 Contemptor Quarters have moved up, ready to also fire pot shots at the flying Thunderhawk. The remaining tactical squad has obviously disembarked its Rhino from it being destroyed, and now sitting on the mid deployment zone for the objective. The Phoenix Guard have now moved round, keeping an our own deployment zone objective, camping there for the remainder of the battle. Emperor's Children, turn 5, shooting. The Emperor's Children Storm Eagle, with its snap firing shots, with its twin-link las cannons and twin-link multi-melter, have shot at the Thunderhawk. 1 las cannon hit and did a glance. The multi-melter hit but failed to do any penetrating hits. The Emperor's Children Javelins have opened fire with their multi-melters and twin-link las cannons on a Thunderhawk gunship. With snap firing, they've failed to hit with everything. The Emperor's Children Leviathan has opened up with its melter gun inside its claw, however failed to hit. The 2 Contemptor Quartuses also tried to shoot a Thunderhawk, however failed with all of their 4 melter gun shots. Emperor's Children, turn 5, assault. The Palatine Blades declared a charge against the Night Lords Terror Assault Squad. The Night Lords had 12 Overwatch attacks, hitting with a mighty 6 and doing 4 wounds. The Palatine Blades failed 1 armor save, so 1 went down. Striking at Initiative 5, the Palatine Blades step up with a Phoenix Power Spear and a Power Sword. With their combined 7 attacks, they managed to kill 3 Marines.
Stepping in at Initiative 4, the First Claw strike back at the Emperor's Children. They had 9 attacks. They then hit 7 times, wounding 5 times, However, the Emperor's Children were lucky enough to make their armour saves, causing no wounds.
Unbelievably, despite the Night Lords losing combat by 4 points, they managed to pass the leadership and stay on this deployment zone. Emperor's Children, turn 5 summary. The Emperor's Children gave everything they had, with all their shooting against the Thunderhawk, really desperately trying to take it down, but it just wasn't quite enough. They bled hard in combat, gave it everything they had to try and remove the Night Lords off that final objective. However, the Night Lords managed to stay. At this point, it's so close, it could still go either way. We have to tot up victory points and see who has come the victor.
Night Lords, Emperor's Children. We're going to do the results straight away, then we can get into the guts of the game. Ended in a draw. Unbelievable. The scores were 1-1, and it was looking like the Emperor's Children had taken it.
Yeah, I thought for a second I had it.
Yeah,
Must
because
have that.
you secured a deployment zone, is that correct? Oh, no, you got
No,
last man standing.
Yeah, I had more units left alive.
You did.
So simple. So I got 1 VP for that.
You did. But the Night Lords were lucky, though.
Very lucky.
Thanks to the Right of War, the Mariskara from the Emperor's Children, if you do not kill the enemy Night Lord, Warlord, you concede a point.
Yeah, I give away a free VP, which is all it took.
So it ended in a draw. Considering the firepower and the sheer volume of troops and vehicles on the board, I cannot believe we ended up with a 1-1 draw.
No, it was amazing. I mean, if you think even like getting into the enemy deployment zone is worth 7, so 1 point in it or a draw is amazing. Like,
Yeah, absolutely mental. The amount of firepower traded, the amount of movement that occurred in the game, and just to have it as a draw still at the end is just crazy.
I think it honestly came down to playing the mission, because if you look at the units, there's still quite a lot left alive because we were playing the mission. So because of that, we're both quite heavily combat armies, but we were sort of skirting around, making sure we could get in the correct place. So, which is like what we said at the beginning of the start, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I was going to try and outflank you, and you were going to try and come round. So we did what we said we were going to do,
Yeah.
which is great.
I think in a way that works really well because it just showed the manoeuvrability of both armies, and we didn't just end up with a massive fight in the centre of the board, which is cool, but it's more interesting when you play to the mission and try and outflank each other or try and outmaneuver, and I think that worked really well.
Yeah, quite a few games you see people tend to collect into the middle, everyone's fighting, then you get an occasional dash out to a far objective to try and get that extra VP. But with this, it was just all over the show, just movement all around, and it was great.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
I think we both played how our legions would play as well.
Yeah.
I really think we did.
Tactical cowardice for the draw.
I think for me, one of the turning points for you was when the Leviathan came down next to my Spartan, because it basically non-avoided that unit for the entire game. They just, without their transport, they couldn't. They're in the wrong side of the table, in the wrong corner. I mean, they managed to at least get the objective. However, it was contested with yours. So they were there, but for not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was massive for me, because it's a lot of points and it's a big unit. So
Yeah, because the pod itself was an incredibly risky move, and there's not even 12 inches really on that area to go around. So
you had about 5 inches, I think.
Yeah.
If you went towards my board edge, it would have been gone. I think.
But by stopping you going down the back, that sort of completely stopped you from reinforcing that angle, unless you were going through the alleyways in between the buildings and the ruins and
It
stuff.
was just too far on foot.
Yeah.
Especially with the amount of speed you had as well.
Yeah.
So
I think Night Lords did a really great job. They avoided the contents of the Spartan entirely, and the 2 Contemptors and the Leviathan as well.
Yeah.
And you only really committed a Leviathan in exchange.
Yeah, the quite frankly, having played James before, the Leviathan and the Contemptors especially, because Cortuses are no joke.
Yeah,
amazing, aren't they?
I don't really know why you take a normal Contemptor over one, if I'm honest with you, because the overcharge is really good. So I was a little bit worried about them, but by getting that Leviathan in the back there, it sort of drew you in, which was a fair exchange, like you say, really, when you think about it.
Oh, you totally listen. A lot of points, about 1,000 points out there, that didn't really get to use the full potential of.
Yeah.
Although you did hole him with melter shots.
One melter gun inside the fist was what did it, which was kind of amusing.
I think interesting, a lot of the key points of the game, although there was some really big stuff on the board and some really powerful units, the actual guts of the game happened over by the little warehouse over there where you had the Terror Assault Squad with the Volkites and the Palatine Blades, and that exchange between those 2 or 3 units was really quite thrilling, really.
Oh, it was amazing.
Considering what was on the board.
Yeah, agreed. There's a lot of tactical cowardice going on, and making you come to me, losing the odd man for Overwatch and a bit of Deflagrate on the go. But then you'd finally catch up, and then you'd tear holes in me, and there was that nice little to and fro in, that nice little bit of balance.
Really good. And I think a lot of people sort of condemn those units as well. They don't take them. But if you're trying to run a narrative or a fluff-based game, if it's just you should be able to take what you want. I get there's stronger, Phoenix Guard, for example, get a lot of hate online.
Sure.
But they can be quite useful. I do get quite a lot of success with them, but you do have to pick your charge. If they lose their transport, that they are vulnerable. And same with the Palatine Blades. They're good on the charge. If you can get them where you want them, that's why I put them in the flyer. They are quite good, but they are a lot of points. But I think it's fun. That's why I like the game. That's the reasons I play it.
And from the Night Lord's perspective as well, quite a few people tend to like shy away from Terror Assault and go to the more like generic like Pride of the Legion lists. But I mean, this game just shows that when you're running like a narrative sort of based army and you're really working with the Rite of War instead of going, well, I can only take one heavy support, so I'm going to get absolutely beaten off the table. That it doesn't matter if the enemy's got a Spartan and various other assets because you can still do the relative damage with that one well placed asset.
Yeah, definitely. And it was well placed.
Cheers, mate.
And if we look at the Thunderhawk, it's an absolute beast. Delivered the Atramentar over on the far end of the board there. But, the D weapon, was a little bit worried about the D weapon because the last thing you need is that roll of the 6 wipes out 1,000 points of Spartan and its contents. But we didn't get a 6.
No.
But we got some solid glances, didn't we?
Yeah, and I agree with what you're saying about the 6. It unbalances the game, and no one wants to see their favourite toys taken off the table, especially at 3.5 and above. You can bring some really impressive toys to the table, and then just to have it taken off the table, it kind of ruins the game for both because it's not fun for me to shoot James's Spartan off the table in one turn.
I think win the game on one shot.
Exactly. Yeah,
so,
exactly that.
Yes.
So that worked really well and didn't cause as many problems as I think we thought it would.
Yeah, no, I was a little bit worried, but I think in the end it did all right.
I think Thunderhawk's quite expensive. It gets a lot of rap, but to be fair, it did its job.
Yeah.
It didn't kill its points back, but what it did do is it denied
drew a
me
lot of firepower.
Yeah.
I shot so much at it,
Yeah.
and it did its job with your Terminators. It got them away from most of my army. And you're like, I'm not going to get involved here.
No.
And literally went to the other side of the board that I
Yeah.
didn't have as much because with my outflank. To be fair, I got I'm not unlucky, but they all came on this side.
They did.
So, and I did what I could with it. However, that meant I couldn't then get my power back over to that side. So it meant I couldn't.
Cowardice.
And but that drew you the game with because I couldn't get your Warlord.
Yeah.
So there's, I was never going to get through your 10 Terminators with the Warlord in.
Yeah.
So, and that was at the end of the day, that's what made the balance to the draw. So
you did really well with the Thunderhawk. You got it down to 7 whole points.
yeah,
Which is really good.
I tried. I shot a lot at it.
Down to 2,
Two,
sorry.
yeah.
Took 7 down to 2.
Yeah.
And that was a really great effort.
Yeah, it was close, wasn't it?
And all that snap shooting on the last turn just to pick those last 2. It was so close.
Yeah, it wasn't quite.
Yeah, there was a moment I was like,
Yeah. It's looking like it was going
When the
to
multi-melter did 4.
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, that's
Yeah.
like half its whole points on one shot.
That's brilliant, eh?
It was good. I think for me though, my man of the match has to be that lone tactical sergeant in the enemy's deployment zone on his own, holding basically keeping 7 points from going to the Night Lords.
He needs to be named.
So yeah, I think I might have to do something with him. I don't know what yet.
What about you, Simon?
I think I'm kind of cut between the Praetor and the Thunderhawk. The Praetor was just ridiculous with that Divining Blade, and I'll be honest, I won't take it again because I felt a little bit dirty.
They are the new hotness Divining
Oh,
Blades.
yeah.
They are in literally every list at every event you go to, and I don't think they should be. You know,
I totally agree. I think a Paragon Blade is probably sufficient.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
a really good weapon.
I think
Don't need it better.
I'm going to stick with the Thunderhawk, to be honest with you, because I mean the amount of firepower it took in. It just makes me wonder how the Atos Dios Dawn's one deals with things where it's got a void shield as well.
It's mad, isn't it?
That was so good.
Yeah, because I think we talked about you could have had a 2 Storm Eagles and a bit more, but
But they
the
don't
Storm
take the
Eagles
fire.
they would have died.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that one metal gun shot would have killed a Storm Eagle and
Yeah.
everything inside it. So that's a massive.
Yeah, it is expensive for what it does.
It
You
is
know,
expensive.
The armor upgrades are expensive, but they're worth it. And I think the Thunderhawk has to be blackened. The Thunderhawk.
Fair enough.
I think a little tweak and it'll be there.
Yeah.
It's just. I know it's hard to balance out Lords of War. That's
Yeah.
the big problem.
Particularly flying, Lords of War.
Yeah, really difficult.
You know.
But
I've taken a ton of photos from this game. So when the game is released, please go to the Facebook page. Those photos will be there for you to enjoy. There are some really fantastic shots, so please go there and have a look. Gents, where can we find you on Instagram?
Rights Adventures Guild. So yeah, please come and follow me. If you've got any questions, just ask. I'm happy to talk to anyone that wants any questions from anything. I get quite a lot of questions on my purple, but I'm happy to answer anything.
Great.
And I'm a Havoc 856, but I also have a blog called Legio Traitoris.
Fantastic. And I'll put those details on the bottom. I'll put a link in that blog at the bottom of the comments below. Closing comments from you. We're going to talk about something within the forces yourself?
Yeah, so we're both in the forces, so that's why we met.
Yep.
So originally it was for 40k, but I sort of converted you over to 30k, didn't I?
For the true gaming system.
Yeah. We played 40k. I said, no, it was good, but 30k would have been better, basically, was what I was throwing out, wasn't it? And eventually I got you coming, and it was really good. We played some good games. We got a good game group.
Yeah, we did.
I'm based in Colchester. You've moved on now.
Yeah.
But yeah, we still go. Yeah, you still come back there and play 40k gaming in Colchester. So if anyone's around, come give us a shout, because we want to try and get a bit more 30k down there.
And how is gaming received in the military community? It must be a bit prickly, I guess.
It is a bit prickly. It's kind of a shame. I still find it a bit disappointing of people's attitude, because at the end of the day, it's a hobby.
Yeah.
We all have different things that we're interested in. So, but it was good to see for theirs. So, Model for Heroes is sort of quite a good one, because it looks at sort of PTSD and helping, that mental health resilience with soldiers, which is obviously one of the things at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
We did an event a few weeks back. It was Cambridge Way. It wasn't far from here, actually.
Oh, okay.
And it was it was raised. We managed to raise £840 for
Wow.
for Models of Heroes, which was great. And that was the recompliance of Nazir. If anyone, they should be putting on another event. Strongly recommend it. Anyone can take part. It'd be great to see some more faces. It was one of the best events I've done, actually. It was quite laid back, quite chilled, and the prizes were unbelievable.
Were they?
They were. So they did a raffle, because it was obviously for a charity. So they managed to get a lot of really good prizes. I mean, I won a Sicarian for best painted, which I couldn't believe.
Wow.
What a prize!
That's cool.
Amazing. And then there was full tables of so like tile was given away. There was loads of models. So there was like 25 prizes in a
That's
raffle.
cool, man.
That was really good, really fantastic event.
Good stuff. All right. Well, if you're in the forces and you're near Colchester, if you tell me when the event's on, I'll share that through my sort of outlet, and then hopefully we'll get more people interested.
Oh, brilliant. That would be fantastic, yeah.
Good stuff. All right, well, I think you have to agree, these gents put on a spectacular show. Not only was it a really visually stunning game, it was a real tactical play, which I think hopefully you'll really enjoy it. We had an absolute blast filming it.
Yeah,
So,
fantastic. One quick thing.
Go on.
There were so many points that could have won or lost the game.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be able to remember them all off the top of my head. Like the lone tactical marine, the killing the Thunderhawk, this side down there, that combat, the Leviathan. Like there was so many things that could have swung it either way, and that's why I love this game, because
it's not a foregone conclusion from the first turn, is it?
No, not at all.
So much can swing backwards and forwards.
And it came so your Terror Squad staying there made a massive difference.
Yeah.
It's all these little things that make, that's why it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely one of the best games I've played in a long time. So
Good.
thank you very much
I
for that.
completely agree with that statement.
My pleasure. All right, I sincerely hope you've enjoyed this, and we will see you in the next game.